Miss Starr, what is your birth name? What's on your birth certificate? May 16, 1983. Your birth name? Oh, Kelly Jeffries. Did you legally change your name to Kelly Starr? I was married. I'm sorry? I was married. It changed from Jeffries to Starr when you got married? Yes. And at some point, did you change it to Home? I was married again. You've been married twice? Yes. Now, Miss Jeffries, Miss Starr, you were convicted of your first felony back in 2001, correct? Yes, I believe so. And you were 17 at the time? Yes. Okay, and that was, you had a common law robbery? Yes. Uttering a forged instrument? Yes. Forgery of instruments? Yes. Larceny? Yes. And felony breaking and entering? Yes. And you were placed on probation? Yes. And at some point in 2002, you picked up another forgery instrument, right? I guess so. I don't know the dates. In Lincoln County, does that sound right? Yes. And that violated your probation? Yeah. Did you? Did you go to prison? I did. How much time did you serve? A year. Okay, and you also had a felony fleeing to elude in 2002, correct? Yes. And felony possession of stolen goods, both of those in Gaston County? I guess so, if that's what it says on my record. And in 2006, convicted of a false police report in Gaston County, yes or no? Yeah, if that's what it says. And then in 2009, you were convicted of 3 counts of identity fraud. Yes. 2 counts of larceny? Yes. Obtaining property under false pretense? Yes. And uttering a forged instrument? Yes. And one of those charges, your mother was the victim, correct? Yes. You used her credit card? Yes. Without telling her? Correct. And you bought some items? Yes. And you also had an ID with your picture on it, with her name? Correct. And you cashed her income tax check, correct? Correct. You also was charged with pawning her TV? Correct. And you pawned her lawnmower, correct? Correct. And you also used your sister's ID, correct? Correct. And you were placed on probation for those matters? Yes. And you mentioned that you were part of, I believe you said it was 4 different gangs? 4 sets? Excuse me? 4 different sets. I'm sorry? Yes. What was the first set that you were a part of? G-Shine. What year was that? 2008. And where was that set located? In Shelby. In Shelby? You were living in Shelby at that time? No, I lived in Cherryville. You lived in Cherryville. Okay. And so you've already been convicted of several crimes before you became a G-Shine member, correct? Correct. And prior to you becoming a G-Shine, were you working at that time? No, I received disability. Received disability. And how long were you a member of G-Shine? I'm not sure. A couple of years? 2 years? A year? 3 years? I don't know. Okay, and then after G-Shine, what set did you? I went to Pretty Tony. Pretty Tony? Yes. You don't remember when that was? I don't know the date, no, or the year. Okay, now the G-Shine set. Were they sanctioned? G-Shine was. The set is sanctioned. Now the people that I were under were not really who they said they were. They didn't have the stain that they said they had. And did you have any stain within G-Shine? No, I did not. Okay, and Pretty Tony wasn't sanctioned either, correct? Pretty Tony was not sanctioned. Okay, never was? At one point. At some point, they did get sanctioned under G-Shine. But now, are you saying, did you know at that time what was going on with Pretty Tony? No, I did not. Okay, and you don't know how long? You don't remember how long you were a part of Pretty Tony? I do not. And then after that, what were you? What set did you join then? I went to a Ricket Hunter. Was this all in Shelby? A Ricket Hunter was in New York. Pretty Tony, I met some online that was in prison, and that's how I became Pretty Tony. So were you a member of G-Shine and Pretty Tony at the same time? No, I was a member of G-Shine, and then I flipped to Pretty Tony. Okay, and then you flipped again? Correct. And then you said after that you were a member of Imperial? Yes, after a Ricket Hunter, I went to 9 Trey for a little bit. What's a little bit? It wasn't even, I don't know, 2 months. Were you with 9 Trey for 2 months? Yeah. And then I went to Imperial. Now I know in general some of the terms are different, but each, 9 Trey and G-Shine, they have their own language. Isn't that correct? Not all the terms mean the same thing. Is that true? Correct. What year were you a part of 9 Trey? That was 2011 because that's the year that I got beat up. And you said you got beat up by some of the 9 Trey members? I sure did. Okay, and you also talked about an incident with Omega Reed? Yes. Was that while you were a member of 9 Trey? No. What were you a member of at that time? I wasn't, I was just blood. What year was that? 2011. 2011. Now, is it true that you have been accused of taking some money from Omar Reed? Yes. And isn't it true that you have been accused of setting him up to get robbed? Setting who up to get robbed? Omar Reed. How? He was in prison. From what years? Since I've known him. So I believe you testified that he set you up to get robbed. Yes. And he was in prison the entire time you knew him? Yes. And isn't it true that you're familiar with the term being put on the plate or food? Yes. And that just means that somebody is going to do something or supposed to do something to you, correct? Correct. Okay, and isn't it true that you at some point you were labeled food? Yes, I've been labeled food a lot. And that's based upon what you've been accused of doing, correct? Right. You've been accused of stealing kitty money, correct? No, kitty money? Yes. No. You also have been accused of lying on a member, is that true? Yes. And just basically stirring up controversy, correct? Correct. And this was all around 2011? Yeah. Okay, and you were assaulted by some 9 Trey members? Yes. You have been labeled as food. And when did you start officially working for the government? March of 2012.